Formula One racing has been hosted on numerous circuits over several decades. However, a few circuits, despite their unique locations and welcoming challenges, ran into difficulties which ultimately led to Formula One leaving these tracks. One ill-fated circuit was the Autopolis, which never saw a Formula One race, although one was scheduled to be hosted here. But what happened to it? In this video, we're discussing the downfall of the Autopolis in Japan. Located in the mountainous region of the southern island of Kyushu, the circuit was built by Tomonori Tsurumaki, a wealthy real estate developer, investment banker, and businessman. The circuit was exceptionally well built in a picturesque location, and Tsurumaki went above and beyond to decorate the circuit arena to attract people, especially wealthy individuals. He purchased a string of artworks that had paintings from Van Gogh, Monet, Magritte, and Renoir to fill the massive gallery he built on the circuit. In 1989, Tomonori Tsurumaki starred in global headlines when he purchased Pablo Picasso's masterpiece La Noce de Pierrette for $51.3 million. The purchase was made at a Paris auction, and he concluded the sale over the phone while comfortably sitting in his hotel room in Tokyo. He made his aim clear from the start. The circuit was built as a retreat for wealthy Japanese businessmen and individuals to escape the hustle and bustle of the city, enjoy the mountain ranges, have a breath of fresh air, and enjoy watching Formula One cars sprint by them. It was an emerging trend in Japan at the time for the wealthy to spend millions on extravagant luxuries and enjoy such events. Following this, Tsurumaki jumped on the bandwagon, hoping to profit from it. Little did he know, he would enter a series of problems just 3 years after the track was opened. From the inception of construction work, Tsurumaki used the exquisite mountainous location as a selling point. The circuit sat 3,000 meters above sea level and provided an alluring view of Japan from above. However, this selling point was also its primary weakness. Due to the remote location, the only access to the circuit was through relatively narrow winding mountain roads and was miles away from any civilization or markets. The nearest city, Kikuchi, was at a 40-minute drive, while the more prominent, larger city of Hita was at least an hour away. Moreover, a trip from Tokyo required a 2-hour flight followed by at least an hour of driving up the narrow mountain roads. The location raised concerns. However, Tsurumaki remained consistent with his approach and assured that once the project was complete, everybody would be amazed. However, his pursuit did not come at a cheap cost. The labor cost, construction cost, and fixing facilities in such a remote location amounted to over $500 million. Despite the heavy cost, Tsurumaki continued with the construction. He hired designer Yoshitoshi Sakurai, the former project leader of the Honda F1 team in the 1960s, to design the circuit. Unlike Okayama, the Autopolis does not have an extremely tight layout, but due to its location, it offers virtually no margin for error. The barriers are fitted extremely close to the track in several places, and there are no tarmac runoff areas anywhere on the track. The track extends 2.904 miles or 4.673 kilometers and features a mix of high, medium, and low-speed corners. Additionally, an elevation change is also present which measures 52 meters. With all of these factors, the Autopolis offered a driving challenge that was perhaps only matched by Suzuka's famous first sector across Japan's other major circuits. Many racers have called it an amazing track, crediting the ups and downs that feel like a roller coaster ride. At turn 10, which is an off-camber left-hand hairpin, the racers go down a massive downhill straight and are immediately met by an extremely fast right-hand turn. The final sector also houses extremely tight corners that are harsh on tires. Sacha Fenestraz, a French racer of Formula E, said that in the final corners, drivers have to be extremely careful and manage the turns smartly because they can destroy the rear tires quickly. Moreover, the track is bumpy, and this makes the racing physically tough. Turn 1 is a medium-speed right-hander, and the way it is designed, the apex is not visible. It's slightly blind, and given a bumpy braking area, it is very easy to lock up here. Similar to Sugo, the Autopolis has no tarmac runoff. Drivers go straight into the gravel and often hit the wall. Nevertheless, many racers have said that the zero margin for error is what makes the race full of pressure, and they enjoy that challenge. The track was opened with a grand ceremony in 1990, and a host of US racing stars visited to race local talent at the inaugural event. The event featured single-seater FC45 cars, commonly known as Formula Crane. The Benetton F1 sponsorship also ensured the attendance of Nelson Piquet, Sandro Nannini, and team boss Flavio Briatore. In 1991, the International Automobile Federation's World Sports Cars Series was hosted at the venue, and legends such as Michael Schumacher and Karl Wendlinger were seen racing. However, visitors reported immediately after the race that hotels were hours away by bus and the route was hectic. Ultimately, it became clear that the Autopolis was unsuitable for Formula One. This marked the downfall of this amazing circuit, and from here on, a series of bad luck engulfed it. In 1993, despite the concerns about its location, the International Automobile Federation published a draft of the Formula One calendar that year and included the venue for the Asian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, Tsurumaki was facing severe financial difficulties of his own. The Asian financial crisis affected the plan negatively, and subsequently, Tsurumaki's company, Nippon Tri-Trust, had collapsed, rendering him bankrupt. He was forced to hand over the circuit and all artworks worth millions to the Hazama Corporation, the major creditor of the circuit and the one taking control of the construction. Given the circumstances, the Formula One race was instead awarded to Donington Park in Great Britain. For the next couple of years, Hazama tried to run the circuit but eventually gave up. In 1995, the circuit was put up for sale, and it took them a decade to finally catch a buyer. In 2005, Kawasaki purchased the circuit and to date continues to be the major shareholder in the circuit. By then, the financial crisis became stable and the circuit continued hosting a regular roster of national events. Since its opening, the circuit never saw much racing until 2003, when it regularly started hosting the Super GT. In 2009, the Formula Nippon, now known as Super Formula, was also hosted here and continues to date. It also hosts Formula 3 races, and one of the most memorable races here was of 2019 when Fenestras took a hat-trick of wins and the title in All Japan Formula 3. Despite the objections about the remote location and the difficult journey to reach Autopolis, it must be said that the course offers a breathtakingly beautiful and serene environment. Sitting on the border between Oita and Kumamoto, a stunning view of the scenery of Aso-Kuju National Park is seen. The drive to the track is also beautiful, and many have talked about the locally famous Milk Road from the city of Kumamoto to the circuit. It also features a plethora of layovers where fans and visitors often stop to admire the view and take a break from the hectic drive between mountains. Occasionally, a volcano eruption can also be seen on the nearby Mount Aso from the circuit. Nevertheless, it seems highly unlikely that the Autopolis will ever be nominated in a Formula One calendar again due to its remote location and aging facilities. However, Japanese motorsport fans often visit the location to immerse themselves in the once-in-a-lifetime experience and enjoy the country's most scenic track. Currently, the circuit hosts events for the Super GT, the Super Formula, the MFJ Superbike, and the Super Taikyu. Do you think Formula One racing should come to the Autopolis, or has the track lost its charm? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you are notified as soon as we upload our next video. Thanks for watching.